Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda. Amazing kirtan, really amazing. We need more kirtan like that. Haribol. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Kirtan. And what a drama! Whoa! That was spectacular. Gosh. That was amazing. Thank you, children. So today, devotees, this is just one of the most special days in our year because, well, we're all dependent on mercy, no matter how senior you may be, how long you've been a devotee and how many years you've been chanting 16 rounds. You know, you might be a really senior devotee chanting 16 rounds for 10 years. Whoa. But still you're dependent on mercy. We're all dependent on mercy so much. And Lord Nityananda, particularly, he's really the ultimate giver of mercy. I'm sure you've heard that it's said that demon who Lord Ram might kill, Lord Krishna might spare his life. But that demon who Lord Krishna might kill, Lord Chaitanya would spare his life. The example is Kamsa was killed by Krishna. But when he appeared in Lord Chaitanya's Leela as the Chandkasi, then even though many of the devotees, they were very angry and they wanted to kill him, but Lord Chaitanya said no. Lord Chaitanya spared his life and preached to him. But then it's also said that demon who Lord Chaitanya might kill, Lord Nityananda would spare his life, but not just spare his life. Lord Chaitanya would give him Krishna prema, deliver the person completely from this material world and give him pure love for Krishna, which is the ultimate goal of life. And our friends, Jagai and Madai, wow, there they are. See, they're devotees. They are really good courtesy of there's Lord Nityananda there. Wow. Sure. It's true. Yeah, that's what happened to Jagannath. So, we're only celebrating this occasion today here at least. And there's so much that can be said. On other occasions we've done a seminar on the pastimes of Lord Nityananda, and I think like for 5 or 6 days, an hour and a half a day, and there's still more. So, we're just touching a little tiny tidbit of what nectar is there. And so I thought, last year, I think last year I was here, we talked about how Lord Nityananda delivered the dacoit Brahmin. That's a real classic story. It's a real classic story. But I thought today we could discuss something a little different. I thought we could discuss the first meeting of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. It's pretty amazing. It was really wonderful. Because Lord Nityananda, he appeared in Ekachakra, which is a couple of, 150, well, more like a couple of 100 kilometers or so. It's kind of northwest from Mayapur, Navadvip area. It's a different part of Bengal where the Ganges doesn't flow. So Lord Nityananda appeared there. He had his childhood pastimes there. We talked about this in Radhanath Temple this morning. And then when he was 12, he went on pilgrimage. It's a long story, but he went on pilgrimage initially with one traveling sannyasi, and then he just branched out himself. And all sorts of interesting things happened. Actually, when he left home, he was 12, as we said. That is when Lord Chaitanya appeared. So Lord Nityananda is roughly 12 years older than Lord Chaitanya. And then Lord Nityananda went on pilgrimage for 20 years. 20 years. And eventually he reached Vrindavan, and he stayed in Vrindavan. There are 2 places in Vrindavan, one in Vrindavan town where Lord Nityananda lived, and another one by Radhakund, just near Radhakund, where Lord Nityananda lived. And he stayed there until Lord Chaitanya started his Sankirtan movement. And Lord Nityananda, he was aware, transcendentally aware, that Lord Chaitanya had started his Sankirtan movement. So he left Vrindavan and headed back to Bengal, to Mayapur Dham, Navadvip Dham, to join Lord Chaitanya. And so far, they had not met yet. So there's a nice story behind it, and let's discuss that. So, Lord Chaitanya was there. Well, first of all, actually, you know what? There are blessings at the end of this pastime. There are 3 statements explaining the benefit you get if you hear dreaming and wondering what's the prasadam, and wondering how long is he going to talk for, or something like that. Then you'll get to the end of the pastime and hear the blessings that you would have basically missed out because you were distracted. So, let me just tell you what those blessings are, devotees, and hopefully that will encourage you to really give your attention and become absorbed in this and really appreciate what a wonderful pastime it is. So listen to this. Whoever hears Lord Nityananda's pastime of coming to Navadvip will be blessed with love of God. Anyone who hears about the meeting of Nityananda and Gaurachandra is surely freed from material bondage. Whoever sings and glorifies this wonderful pastime will be blessed by Lord Vishwambara, by Lord Chaitanya, along with his entire family. Isn't that nice? So, pay attention, please. Yeah, it's such an auspicious time because Lord Chaitanya is known as Patitapavan, the deliverer of the fallen. But Lord Nityananda, he's in the mood of being a servant, a devotee of Lord Chaitanya. And so he is dedicated to fulfilling the mission and fulfilling the desires of Lord Chaitanya. And therefore, Lord Nityananda, he gets into this whole thing of delivering the fallen even more than Lord Chaitanya does. That's the special thing. That's the special thing. That Lord Chaitanya delivered different people. Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sadhguru Bhattacharya, Ramananda Roy, they're all delivered personally by Lord Chaitanya. But Lord Nityananda delivered Jagai and Madai. Whoa! I mean, they're just on a different level to Sadhguru Bhattacharya and Ramananda Roy. So it's really nice to consider the mercy which is there from Lord Nityananda. So anyway, as we said, Lord Nityananda left Vrindavan and he's heading down to the southeast towards Bengal to Mayapur and Navadvip. And he was almost there. And Lord Chaitanya called his devotees together. And Lord Chaitanya told his devotees, a great personality is coming to Navadvip in a few days. Then the next day, Lord Chaitanya called the devotees together again and said, last night I had a dream. A chariot came and stopped in front of my door. And this was not your ordinary chariot. This was a chariot for taking you from this material world back to the spiritual world. And on it was a colossal figure, like a giant, with a blue blue dhoti and blue top boots. He was carrying a plow, and he was moving in a restless way. In his left hand, he had a water pot, Kamandala, and listen to this, devotees. In his left ear, he had an earring. Very long. Anyway, I don't have an earring. It's just an interesting thought. Yeah. A beautiful earring pierced his left earlobe. And Lord Chaitanya said his whole appearance and his demeanor made me think maybe he's Lord Balaram. So then this great personality spoke to me, Lord Chaitanya said. And he said, this great person repeated 10 or 20 times, is this the house of Nimai Pandit? 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 And Lord Chaitanya said, never before have I seen such a formidable personality. And so I asked, Lord Chaitanya said, I asked, who are you? And this person, this is in Lord Chaitanya's dream, don't forget. This person said, I'm your brother. I'm your brother. And tomorrow, we will get to know each other. So all the devotees are just completely enraptured hearing this. So then, Lord Chaitanya went into a state of ecstasy. And you know what he called for? You should fasten your seatbelts. I hope you're all sitting down. You know what he called for? He said, bring me wine! Bring me wine! And he was screaming this so loud, the devotees' eardrums were almost popping. And one devotee responded that this wine that you're talking about, this is a different type of wine. This is a type of wine which delivers you from material existence. So, yes. So then, Lord Chaitanya told Haridasa Sridhar Thakur, go and find this person. He has arrived. He's somewhere here. Go and find him. So they went for 3 hours and they searched and searched. And they came back after 3 hours and said, you know, we visited the houses of all the devotees and the sannyasis and the brahmins, and we even visited the Mayavadis and the atheists, but there was no one, no new special person who's arrived. And then Lord Chaitanya smiled, and Lord Chaitanya said, come with me, I will take you to him. So off they went with Lord Chaitanya, and they went directly to the house of Nandan Acharya. That place is still there in Mayapur, just down a few hundred meters from our campus towards the boat ghat. So they came to the door, they opened the door and stepped in. there was Lord Nityananda. And Lord Nityananda was sitting there smiling because he was meditating on Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya and the devotees, they came into the house of Nandanacharya and they offered their obeisances to Lord Nityananda and stood there respectfully and didn't say anything. And then Lord Nityananda looked at Lord Chaitanya and he understood, this is my Lord. So, Lord Nityananda just stared with unblinking eyes at Lord Chaitanya, just overwhelmed with bliss, unable to move. He just sat there. He wanted to taste Lord Chaitanya's beauty with his tongue and smell his fragrance, embrace him with his hands. But he just sat there speechless, completely enchanted by Lord Chaitanya's beauty. So it's just sort of nothing's happening. Everyone's looking at each other and no one's moving. So then Lord Chaitanya told Srivas Thakur, recite a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srivas recited this verse, it's from the 10th canto, that when Krishna was in the forest in Vrindavan, he was dressed as a dancer. A peacock feather was stuck in his crown. His ears were decorated with graceful, drooping yellow earrings. His golden yellow dress glistened, and he was wearing the Vaijayanti jewel around his neck. So he touched the flute to his lips and playing on it, filled it with his nectarian saliva. At the same moment, his cowherd boyfriends were describing his beauty. When Lord Nityananda heard that, he fell down on the ground unconscious. And Lord Chaitanya immediately told Srivas, read on, read more. So, after some minutes, Lord Nityananda came back to external consciousness and he began crying and crying, tears of ecstasy. And Srivas is reading more and more. The more he heard the verses, the more it increased his mad love for Krishna. Then Lord Nityananda began roaring. His ecstatic roaring filled the universe and pierced through the covering of this material world. Then Lord Nityananda jumped into the air and crashed to the ground. And everyone thought that all his bones are smashed. So, seeing this, the devotees with Lord Chaitanya, they just became greatly anxious and they prayed, Krishna, please save him. Krishna, please save him. So Lord Nityananda then rolled on the ground, his body covered with tears of love. Long and frequent sighs escaped his mouth as he looked deep into Lord Chaitanya's eyes. Lord Nityananda was in complete ecstasy. And often he laughed out loud. Sometimes he jumped and danced. Sometimes he grabbed someone and wrestled with them. And at other times he hung his head quietly. So Lord Chaitanya and all the devotees watching this, they began to cry in ecstasy. And Lord Nityananda now, he's moving so wildly, the devotees couldn't hold him. So then, when the devotees failed to hold Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya grabbed him and held him in an embrace. Now, we've all embraced people. You remember embracing someone before, a few years ago? You remember that we used to do that? I remember vaguely. Yeah. So, the length of time that you embrace a person for is an indication of the affection which is there. And normally, you know, it's like, oh, I don't know. Do you remember that a few years ago in the distant past? Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda embraced for 3 days. This is a serious embrace. See if you can do that. So, no, don't. That's okay. But they embraced for 3 days, and the devotees were just there, just watching, just completely enraptured, totally. So, as they were embracing, Lord Chaitanya flooded Lord Nityananda with tears of ecstasy. And the devotees thought, they're just like Lord Rama and Lakshmana, because they are Lord Rama and Lakshmana. So then the devotees were having kirtan, and the whole situation just going on and on. So much ecstasy. When they came out of the embrace, Lord Chaitanya said, "This is the most glorious time of my life. Today I have seen the embodiment of loving devotion to the Supreme Lord. Such intensity of ecstasy is only capable of being manifested by the Lord himself. Now I understand that you, Lord Nityananda, are the full-fledged manifestation of the Lord. You are non-different from him. The living entities can get loving devotional service at the lotus feet of Krishna simply by worshipping you." So they just forgot about time completely. And then after a while, Lord Chaitanya asked Lord Nityananda, where have you come from? Where were you before you came here? Where did you come from? And Lord Nityananda gave really amazing answer. I was touring many places of pilgrimage, but I only saw the places. I didn't see Krishna. I asked some people, why are the altars empty? And the people said, Krishna has gone to Navadvip. If you want to see Krishna, you go to Navadvip and you'll see him. So here I am. And they told me Krishna was in Gaya recently, because Lord Chaitanya had been there not long at all before. So I heard that in another dweep, even the most wretched fallen souls can get liberation, and therefore, being such an abominable wretch myself, I've come here. Lord Nityananda said. So, you know, it's really amazing, this meeting of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Now they've met, and they teamed up to really develop the Sankirtan movement. Yes. And so this is when the Sankirtan movement really started to develop and really started to explode when Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda got together. So this is a very special thing for us, the relationship between Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Lord Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahe Anya. Lord Chaitanya is none other than the combined form of Radha and Krishna. And because Radharani is so especially merciful, and when Radharani sees that someone is rendering a little service to her beloved Krishna, Radharani becomes so happy. Even if someone's just doing a little bit of service for her beloved Krishna, Radharani becomes so happy, and she goes to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada describes, on one Radhastami, Prabhupada talked about this. Radharani goes to Krishna, and she says, Krishna? And Krishna immediately, yes. And she says, you know, Krishna, down in Phoenix. And Krishna says, which Phoenix? Arizona? Mauritius? No, Krishna, no. Phoenix, Durban, South Africa. Oh, yes. There is a really nice devotee named, what's your name, Lord Nityananda? Bhakti-lata, what a name. Gosh. There's a really nice devotee named Bhakti-lata, and you should have seen her in the drama, my gosh. And Krishna said, yeah, I was watching, so it's okay. But Radharani says, Krishna, yes, I want you to accept Bhakti-lata as one of your associates. And Krishna says, yes. If you get the recommendation of Srimati Radharani, Krishna accepts you. And Prabhupada says, even if you're fool and rascal number one, which is, you know, there's a lot of competition for that place. But even if you were actually fallen rascal number one, the very one, and Radharani recommends you, Krishna will accept you. So this is the mercy of Radharani, and Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, but he's in the mood of Radharani. Therefore he's Patita Pava. He's the deliverer of the fallen. But the thing is that Lord Nityananda, he is the faithful servant of Lord Chaitanya. He's only thinking, what will please my Lord? What will please my Lord? And he knows that if I try to deliver the fallen souls, the more fallen, the better. Who's the most fallen here? Anyway, it's all right. That's all right. Yeah. So, Lord Nityananda is thinking like that. My Lord is here to deliver the most fallen, so I must do that myself. And therefore Lord Nityananda, he doesn't worry too much about people like Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. You know, they had their problems working for the Muslim government. Very difficult situation. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was a bit of a logician and, kind of mixed position. Ramananda Roy, well, he was a really good devotee, but he was born a Sudra. And, in some people's minds, that's a problem. And Lord Chaitanya delivered them. But even Lord Chaitanya met Jagaya Madai. That's there in Chaitanya Bhagavat, that Jagaya Madai, they would move around in the area that Lord Chaitanya was living in, by Srivas Thakur's place, Advaita Acharya's place. They would move around. And they would sometimes stop Lord Chaitanya in the street and say, "Hey, Nimai Pandit, we hear you sing nicely. Come and join us, and we will sing prayers to Mangala Chandi." You know who Mangala Chandi is? No? That's good. She's a form of Durga who you worship by offering her meat and liquor. Haribol. That's not for us. So like this, they are being sarcastic, taunting Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya could have just turned around and just got into a whole dialogue and tried to do something to help them, but he didn't. He just walked away. Even though he's Patita Pava, he met these two. Well, they're devotees now, so it's okay. But he met these two, and he basically just tried to get away from them. But not Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda, he saw these two. He knew who they were, he knew what they were. And he was thinking, my Lord is Patita Pava, and I'm his servant. So if I'm really a proper servant, I must help him deliver these two. And so he did, as we saw Bhakti Lata. What a powerful Lord Nityananda. Yeah. And with great difficulty, it was extremely dangerous. He got attacked. And and there was blood all over his clothes. But thinking that I must do this so people will appreciate my Lord even more. And just see, he delivered these two. He really is Petita Pava. So Lord Nityananda, he did like that. He delivered Jagai and Madai. He delivered, this other, the dacoit Brahmin. I think you may know that story. That was another bizarre, whole way out situation. And Lord Nityananda delivered this monstrous person. So this is Lord Nityananda. This is Lord Nityananda. That he's not afraid, he's not sort of standoffish when he meets people who are really, really out of it. Just, completely lost. He doesn't avoid them. He goes to them first. The more fallen you are, he comes to you first. And therefore that's very important for us because, our backgrounds are not so good. I'm looking around, I think of all of us, I could almost guarantee I am from the most fallen background. I couldn't tell you. If I told you, you'd probably just walk out. And I'm not kidding. What I've been through, wow, it's too bizarre, completely. But we got some mercy. We got some mercy. This is Lord Nityananda. So therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Lord Chaitanya, he is Petita Pava. Just like a person has a mission in life, and then you identify them in terms of the mission. Like Ishwarapuri Prabhu, he's a doctor. And so everybody says, oh, he's a doctor, he's a doctor, he's a doctor. Because it's his mission. So Lord Chaitanya, his mission is, he's Petita Pava. And so he's identified like that. Oh, he's Petita Pava. But Lord Nityananda is more into being Petita Pava than Lord Chaitanya. So therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that if we accept Lord Chaitanya, who is he? What is he? He's Petita Pava. But Lord Nityananda is even more Petita Pava. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur makes the point, and it's a little esoteric, you might have to think about it a bit. If we accept that Lord Chaitanya, this is who he is, what he is, Petita Pava, Lord Nityananda is even more so. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that, therefore, Lord Nityananda is more one with Lord Chaitanya than Lord Chaitanya is one with himself. Because he's just adopted that identity, that's what he is, that's who he is. So therefore Lord Nityananda is so special, and we should really try not to forget. And we should regularly pray to Lord Nityananda that you are the representative, you are the servant of Lord Chaitanya. You are carrying the mercy of Lord Chaitanya even more than he's carrying it himself. So you please be kind and help me, a degraded person who's struggling here in Durban. Hare Krishna.